Introduction to Active Directory. According to me, the Active Directory is one of the very important topic in any of the server family. And in this particular video, we are going to talk about the server family, a very newest operating system that is Windows Server 2012. The Windows Server 2012 come with a lot of new features. Definitely, it is also including Active Directory as well. According to me, the Active Directory is like it will simplify your life, especially when you talk about the system administration in which you have multiple operating systems available, or you can say the multiple systems available, how you can manage them, how you can apply security, how you can manage their resources. Everything can be managed by Active Directory. And I'm sure most of you are already aware about the Active Directory concepts, especially those people already had some experience with like Windows servers. Those are working on like imagine Windows Server 2003 or Windows Server 2008. So in this particular video, we are going to talk about some of the very important key factors for the Active Directory that will help the people, those are really want to start with the Windows Server 2012. So what is Active Directory for that? So let me start with that. But before, let me introduce myself. My name is Harsh Jangda, and in this particular video, we are going to talk about some of the very important things related to Active Directory. So let me make you a little bit aware that what is Active Directory is. The Active Directory is a directory service implemented by Microsoft for Windows domain networks. And not only that, once you install the Active Directory, it allows you to create a domain controller. The domain controller means which control each and every single thing in the network. And it also authenticates and authorizes all kind of users and computers within the same Windows domain network. So guys, this is the basic information about Active Directory. Let's jump into this Active Directory and let's try to understand what are the important tags, or you can say the terms used in the Active Directory, which really help you to understand better in the future videos. So I'm going to start with the very first point, that Active Directory advantages, that why we need to use Active Directory. सबसे पहला क्वेश्चन यही आता है हमारे माइंड में. Then let me tell you one very clear thing. It really simplify your life whenever you are trying to manage multiple operating systems or the computers within your system infrastructure. And not only that, the Active Directory provides tons of features that will control your network efficiently and of course with ease of administration. And that is why it is much better than other network systems available in the market. The second thing is the Active Directory structure. The Active Directory structure includes domains, trees, forest, and a lot of other things. Definitely we are going to discuss in detail in upcoming videos. In the third part, we are going to talk about the Active Directory objects. Whenever you talk about the objects in Active Directory, the very first thing come into our mind is the users. उसके साथ साथ हमारे पास ग्रुप्स भी होते हैं और हमारे पास ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल यूनिट भी होते हैं दैट विल डेफिनेटली बी अ पार्ट ऑफ द एक्टिव डायरेक्टरी. लेकिन इस पर्टिकुलर वीडियो में है हम जो कॉन्सेंट्रेट करेंगे वो करेंगे हमारे यूजर्स पे, दैट हाउ टू क्रिएट द यूजर्स, हाउ यू कैन यूज दैट यूजर, हाउ यू कैन यूज दैट यूजर स्पेशली इन द विंडोज डोमेन नेटवर्क. सो इट्स सॉर्ट ऑफ थिंग, इट्स अ सिंपल वीडियो इन विच यू कैन गेट दिस ऑल इंफॉर्मेशन. And in this particular video, you also can find especially those people जो पहली बार Active Directory के बारे में पढ़ रहे हैं. You will get to know easily, and it will open your mind that what you are going to learn and what exactly the Active Directory is in Windows Domain Network. And in the end, I'm also going to show you that how to install the Active Directory in Windows Server 2012. Definitely, I know that most of you are already aware that how you can install the Active Directory in the previous version of the Microsoft operating systems like Windows Server 2003 and in Windows Server 2008. We generally like to use the command, or in Windows Server 2008, we also can add the role like domain services role, or you can say ADDS role, and then you can carry on with the DC promo command that is called domain controller promoter. But here in Windows Server 2012, it is quite different. So let's jump into this video and try to understand that how you can work with the Active Directory and what are the terms we are going to use in this. Let me get you straight that whenever I talk about Active Directory, first I always like to give the introduction of Active Directory with a proper example. So in this part, you can see I have a picture, and by using this picture, I'm trying to explain that how exactly your Active Directory is behaving, especially when you have such kind of network. And if you don't have Active Directory, then what kind of effect you can feel or what kind of thing you can manage in your particular system infrastructure. So in this part, as you can see very clearly that I have this PC, and let me make yours photo. Wow, it's looking very good actually. And let me make my hairs is getting straight. Okay, now it's look like somebody is sitting on this computer. Now, guys, in this particular picture, you can see very clearly that I have some login accounts, I have some kind of database, I have some shared files, and of course, I have some email servers as well. And definitely you are also thinking that why I had created two different email servers here. So let me explain you first on one side, then I will explain you on other side as well. तो यहाँ पर जैसा कि आप देख रहे हैं कि इमेजिन कीजिए कि दिस पर्टिकुलर यूजर लॉग इन विद द लॉगन अकाउंट सर्वर. Login account server could be a Windows or it could be a Linux or any other operating system. I don't care right now. What I care is I want to log in into my network so that I can access the resources. So I log in with this account. Now I have to create a new username and of course a new password for that, as you know very well. So each and every server have their own capability and of course the requirement. Like here I have requirement like I can create minimum 7 character of the password if I want to create any of the user. Now ठीक है, user मेरा login हो गया. Now the next step is he also wants to access the database in which he have to manage, he have to work out, and he have to create or find out some bugs or whatever. So I have some database. Now if you want to access this database, he have to create a separate user because right now it's not our Active Directory network, it's just a normal network जहां पर हमारे पास multiple servers available हैं. तो यहाँ पर भी उसने बनाया and यहाँ पर जो condition है, it's imagine यहाँ पर है 14 character password because the database is always important for the company. Now in the third situation, it also want to manage this guy want to manage some of the files which is available on this shared server, or you can say the file server. Now for that also he also have to create some username and the password, and this password is having some 11 character you have to create minimum. And for the same way, you also want to manage the emails for your business purpose or business communication. So in that case, again you have to create a new username and the password, and again you have the a limit to create a password length is minimum 8 characters. Now guys, अब यहाँ पर आपने बनाया. Now imagine you have to remember each and every username, separate username password for each and every server. Now this is only for one user. Now imagine this is your own company. This is your own company. Everything is going well, fine. But now this is your partner company. Now imagine you are connected with your partner company, or it could be a part of different building, or you can say the different department, you can say. So यहाँ पर भी अगर आपको servers access करने हैं or this user wants to access, so definitely you again have to create a separate username and the password for that. And once you are in this side, this side, definitely you cannot access on the partner side, as that is a different thing, and you have to create a separate username password for that. And guys, that is why the Active Directory comes into the picture, because Active Directory करता क्या है. Let me take to you the next slide and let me explain you that what exactly the use of Active Directory is and where it actually help you to manage your big infrastructure. So in this case, I have another picture you can see in this side, and here I just change a little bit name actually. Here you can see I have email server with the same name. I have another one called Windows Server 2012 file server, because I properly mentioned that right now. And I also have some SQL server in my organization, including Windows Server 2012 domain controller. Those gonna take care of all the logon attempts. Means अगर एक यूजर लॉग इन करना चाहता है, so definitely it will be authenticated by the domain controller. Now, what is my example and what is the use of Active Directory in this kind of situations? But let me create a user so that you can easily find, and let me create some hairs like me. That's great. Now, यहाँ पर मेरा यूजर है, and I'm sure most of you are already aware about SSO. What is SSO? It is called single, like a single sign, जो आपका particularly एक ही यूजर को यूज करके मल्टीपल सर्वर्स में एक्सेस करता है. बट राइट नाउ द पॉइंट इज, जब भी ये यूजर यहां से लॉग इन करता है फ्रॉम द डोमेन कंट्रोलर, नाउ डोमेन कंट्रोलर प्रोवाइड्स अ टिकट. That ticket have Kerberos authentication, which means अगर ये SQL server is connected with this Active Directory server or the domain controller, then what will happen? इस यूजर को यहां पर एक अलग से यूजर नेम पासवर्ड बनाने की जरूरत नहीं है, because whatever you create a username password on the domain controller, that works for you even you're trying to access any of the database in the SQL server, or you want to access or you want to create any of the database in SQL server. With the same way, अगर यहां पर ये यूजर एक्सेस करना चाहता है किसी भी फाइल सर्वर को, सो उसको अलग से यूजर नेम पासवर्ड क्रिएट करने की जरूरत नहीं है. As he already log in with a single sign, or you can say single user, तो ये जो टिकट है which is generated by this Active Directory, और अगर ये फाइल सर्वर आपका इस पर्टिकुलर डोमेन कंट्रोलर के साथ कनेक्टेड है और इज अ मेंबर सर्वर व्हाटएवर, सो एग्जैक्टली होगा क्या, दिस पर्टिकुलर यूजर विद अ सिंगल यूजर नेम पासवर्ड आल्सो अलाउज यू टू लॉग इन on this particular file server as well. And with the same way, you are also able to log in on the email server if the email server have any kind of connection with Active Directory or it's a part of the Active Directory. So that is a big use of the Active Directory. Means you can say the services, especially when you have a big infrastructure where the multiple departments or the multiple, or means thousands of people are working, so it is almost impossible to remember each and every username on each and every servers. Or in that case, what you have to do, you have to remember, like imagine अगर एक account department का person है, now he's here, now let me talk about this side. Now he's here is fine, he remember everything. In this case, यहां पर इस साइड में उसको सब कुछ याद है because he have one username. Now how about if we go to the partner side, I mean the another company, अगर वहां जाता है तो क्या होगा? Now can this particular user access with the same username password? I mean to say, अगर ये username password ये resources use करना चाहता है, can he use that? Yes, he can do that. But we need to play around with the Active Directory a bit, or it is also called the Active Directory trust relationship in between two different domain controllers, or you can say the servers, or very important the forest. ये जो terms मैं use कर रहा हूँ, ये मैं आगे आपको explain करूँगा कि what is the meaning of these all the terms, but for the right now try to understand the concept. यहाँ पर अगर मेरे पास एक सर्वर है मेरी कंपनी में और दूसरा सर्वर है दूसरी कंपनी में, I just need to create a trust relationship between these two servers. Now what will happen? That will create a kind of trust policy that will allows you to log in on the partner side as well. I mean, you can easily access any of the resources anytime you want with the same username password, because it is having a trust relationship. Or if you want to build up a long-term relationship, then definitely you have the new thing which is completely based on applications or some other security, some policies. We called in Active Directory as a Active Directory Federation services. We are definitely going to talk about in our video, but my point is, if you want to create a big stuff, or you wanna play around with the databases or the applications, so definitely you need to create that. And again, you don't need to create a separate user for that. Only with one user you can access any of the resources in your company as well as on your partner company, like through which you are connected right now. So that is a basic idea of Active Directory, that why you are learning this and what is the use of this in the real time scenario. Now let's talk about other stuff, that what is Active Directory, what is other components we have to know about the Active Directory, then we can move on with the next topics. Active Directory is actually nothing, it's just a database. The database which contains all the informations related to all kind of objects, including various things. And definitely it's gonna be created on the domain controller. Now, the very first thing you need to understand, that what is domain controller. If you want to understand this particular word, let me tell you in one line. The domain controller means which control all kind of services within the domain or the forest once you create a spatial infrastructure for your organization. So let me discuss with you in the future that what exactly the system infrastructure is, how you can create that. We will just do a small example in this particular video, but for the right now, on which particular machine you just install Active Directory with a particular name like mylab.com or testlab.com, that will recognize your domain controller towards all the clients which is available in the network. That is called the Active Directory database, or I mean you can say the domain controller. And that database have a spatial file name called ntds.dit, which is also called NT Directory Services dot directory information tree, which contains several information like passwords, like policies, like user informations, or so many particular parameters are there. So right now I'm not going to discuss each and everything in detail, but that is a small example for the Active Directory. The second thing here is it is completely based on X.500 standard. This standard was used in the previous operating system of Microsoft, like Windows Server 2000 or Windows Server 2003, or it was also used in you can say in Windows Server 2008 as well, because X.500 actually is a little bit heavy kind of protocol that will take a little bit time to be update or to synchronize, to replicate. So इसीलिए that is why they have created a new protocol, as we all know that LDAP, the Lightweight Directory Access Protocol, and it is one of the very important protocol in Active Directory that will allows you to communicate or to to update the information within the domains. I will talk about this in detail, but just try to understand. It will just help you to make your Active Directory all the time up to date. The next thing we have the Kerberos protocol. The very first thing I want to make you very clear, जो बहुत सारे लोगों के माइंड में ये रहता है कि Kerberos is the Microsoft protocol. No, Kerberos is not developed or introduced by Microsoft. ये प्रोटोकॉल बहुत सारे अदर प्रोडक्ट्स में भी यूज होता है, बट या Microsoft uses this particular protocol with an advantage. What they are trying to say, just now I give you one example of SSO. This is also called the single service online, that allows you to use one particular user to log in all the servers available within your domain or the forest. So that was the main advantage of Kerberos, and not only that, it will generate a ticket system. That ticket will be engaged with the particular user wherever that user wants to access the resources within the domain. That will mutually understandable by all the servers, like those are connected with the Active Directory. So that sort of thing we will discuss in detail, but for right now, Kerberos आपकी just help करता है with a single sign or single login, you can say that एक ही यूजर से लॉगिन करने के बाद जो भी मेंबर सर्वर है एक्टिव डायरेक्टरी के, ऑटोमेटिकली उनके साथ ये सिंक्रोनाइज करता है एंड आपको अलाउ करता है उनके रिसोर्सेज को एक्सेस करने के लिए. द नेक्स्ट थिंग हियर वी हैव इज consistent sync across peer DCs. Now, what is the meaning of that? Definitely the job of the Active Directory to keep update all the servers, those are connected each other. In our example, you can say that I have one server on which I have installed Active Directory. Now I have another server and I want to connect that particular server within the same I mean within the same database, or you can say the same domain controller, once you are connected, so definitely जो दूसरा सर्वर है उसके पास हर एक यूजर के पैरामीटर्स और सारी इंफॉर्मेशन होगी. लाइक आई मीन टू से, अगर मेरा एक यूजर ए है जो कि दूसरे कंप्यूटर के साथ log in करना चाहता है, then automatically that computer, like other computer, will definitely ask from the primary or the domain controller that is this user is authenticated, or what kind of authorization you give to this user. So these sort of thing is going in between the domain controllers, and you can create even multiple domain controllers, which we definitely going to cover in upcoming videos, like additional domain controller, child domain controller, कैसे ये काम करते हैं. We will talk about these all in detail. The next thing is it is extensible. The Active Directory is extensible. Yes, guys, why it is best among all the other network systems available in the market? Because the Active Directory allows developers or the organization developer to make changes into the database, or I mean the structure of the Active Directory. Now, let's say आपकी कंपनी में there is one new rule is coming that whenever a user trying to log in, we want a picture or a GIF file related to that particular user. So whenever that particular user like we want to check the information, I want to see the pictures. By default, I want to tell you the information of the picture or the GIF file is not available on any of the user information. But if you want, if your developers want, they can do that, and that is why it is extensible. There are multiple ways you can do. I'm going to share with you some of the example in the future videos, but that is for right now about the extensibility of the Active Directory. And the next thing is the like interoperates with the domain and forest. Exactly what is the meaning of that? That if you have multiple domains and if you have multiple forests, definitely it will create a bond, or it is also called the trust relationships or the Active Directory federation server you can use for that. And once you get that, you have the proper architecture and the proper communication system with the help of Active Directory. So guys, this is the basic of Active Directory. Now let's jump into other part where we can get some of the terms and we can easily understand what is the meaning of that, all the terms we have. Active Directory have multiple terms, and you can say the multiple names that define actually the structure of the Active Directory. Now in the structure you have multiple things like domain, tree, forest, trust, federation. So exactly, let me explain you one by one that what is the meaning of that all, and later on I will demonstrate one by one in our upcoming videos as well. So let's talk about the very first, that what is domain. As you can see, let's forget every single thing in this picture. Just remember this particular name. यहाँ पर आप देख रहे हैं कि you just have mylab.com. Now exactly guys, Microsoft, or you can say the Active Directory, actually recognized these domain controllers, or you can say the servers, with the name. Why is it so? Because they are formally well connected with the DNS servers, and the job of the DNS servers to recognize your device based on your IP address or based on your name, because that is allow you to communicate properly. I will share with you the information about DNS later, but for right now, just remember that much. Now guys, जैसा कि आप देख रहे हैं कि you install an Active Directory on this particular machine, this particular machine now become a domain controller after the installation of Active Directory. It is also called the domain because without domain controller, you do not have any domain. Or in other sense, you can say that if you do not install Active Directory on the machine, that particular machine do not have any information of Active Directory, and definitely it could not be a, or it should not be called as a domain. So that is what it is. On which particular machine you install Active Directory, that is also called a domain controller, but for the whole other network it is called domain, or you can say mylab.com is the domain, is the same thing. Now guys, the second thing you can say that what is tree for us. It's very easy to understand. As you can see here, right now I have a domain. Now once this domain have multiple, or you can say multiple other domain controllers, just like you have north.mylab.com or the south.mylab.com, actually there's it is also called the child domain, और इनकी वजह से हम इसे एक ट्री स्ट्रक्चर में पाते हैं कि like once you have the main domain or main active directory you have installed on the one server, now you want to add, or you want to add other divisions or the branches. So for that you have to create a tree structure, or you will have to create a child domain. Now exactly once you create the child domain, or you can say this tree structure, automatically a kind of bond, or you can say the relationship or the trust relationship will be created in between these all the domain controllers, you can say that. Now what is the meaning of that? Guys, just imagine I have created one user in south.mylab.com, and now I have one folder available in my mylab.com, I mean on this particular machine, with the proper permission. If you have, means you can give to the user. Now I have a user A or user 1 whatever. So यहाँ पर मैंने जो user 1 की permission है मैंने यहाँ पर दे दी है कि user 1 can access every single thing within this folder. And then what happened? Yes, this particular user can access every single resource which is available in this particular folder. So ये automatically work out करता है, and that is why it is called the tree structure, because they have created some kind of transitive trust in between that. I will discuss this in the future, but for right now, just remember that much. Now the next thing is, what is forest for you? Very easy to understand. Before, I just installed mylab.com, or you can say the active directory, on one PC, or not PC actually, ये तो गलत होगा इसे कहना है, it's a server. So इस server पे install किया, तो actually you can also call this as a forest, because यहाँ पर already मेरा one है. लेकिन now अभी क्या है, यहाँ पर भी मेरे पास कुछ child domain connected है, या फिर यहाँ पर मैंने already दो servers को connect किया हुआ है, as you can see north.mylab.com and south.mylab.com. Now this particular part will become my forest. It is nothing but whenever you add some new server into the tree structure, that will be create, or that will create a forest. Forest means the combined or the total of your particular domain, just like mylab.com. और आप देख भी रहे हैं कि within this particular structure जो end में है, हर एक के end में आपको mylab.com दिखेगा, because it is a part of the forest, you can say that. तो ऐसे ये काम करता है. And within these things, I mean in north.mylab.com में मैंने यहाँ पर कुछ यूजर्स बनाए हैं, और कुछ मैंने कंप्यूटर्स भी ऐड किए हैं विद इन द सेम north.mylab.com, तो वो भी ऑटोमेटिकली इस स्ट्रक्चर में, ट्री स्ट्रक्चर्स में ऐड हो गया है. और जो भी ये कंबाइंड जो आपको पिक्चर आपको समझ आ रहा है विद इन द सेम वन पर्टिकुलर बाय यूजिंग वन डोमेन, तो वो उसे फॉरेस्ट कहते हैं. या फिर एक और एग्जांपल से आप ले सकते हैं, यहां पर मैंने एक लाइन ड्रॉ किया है लाइक ग्रीन के थ्रू, बिकॉज यहां पर मैं आपको ये बताना चाहता हूं कि जो लेफ्ट साइड है दैट इज अ डिफरेंट डोमेन, एंड जो राइट साइड है दैट इज डिफरेंट डोमेन. सो एग्जैक्टली अगर आप यहां देखेंगे तो ये जो पूरा जो ये है हिस्सा है जो यहाँ का है, दैट विल बी अ पार्ट ऑफ, और दैट विल बी कंसिडर्ड एज अ फॉरेस्ट. और जो यहां पर आपको दिख रहा है जितना भी, जो ये testlab.com के हिसाब से दिख रहा है आपको, तो ये जितना पूरा आपको एक स्ट्रक्चर दिख रहा है, तो इसे हम एक अलग फॉरेस्ट बोलेंगे. सो दिस इज एग्जैक्टली कॉल्ड फॉरेस्ट. Now guys, the very important thing you need to know about the trust. Now what is trust? तो मैंने अभी अभी आपके सामने शेयर किया था कि the trust is nothing but a kind of relationship in between the domains that they can trust each other, so that from one particular forest, if a user wants to access any of the resource available on other forest, he can do that with the help of trust relationship. Now what does it mean? Guys, just imagine मेरे पास यहाँ पर एक फॉरेस्ट ट्रस्ट है, और आई मीन फॉरेस्ट अवेलेबल है, और यहाँ पर मेरे पास दूसरा फॉरेस्ट अवेलेबल है. And once you create a trust relationship, and by default it allows you to create the two-way trust relationship. Two-way trust relationship means यहाँ पर अगर मेरे पास कोई यूजर है, he can access the resources on other side, और अगर यहाँ पर मेरे पास कोई user है, he can also access the resources on this side. But remember, not only the trust relationship is important, you have to give the permission manually. Definitely I will show you how you can do that, but just try to understand that. And not only that, there are multiple trust relationships available, like the forest trust, the external trust, the shortcut trust, real-time trust, or the manual trust as well. So we will talk about these all the thing in detail, but only you have to remember right now, the trust can be made in two ways, like two-way trust. Two-way means they can trust each other by, like, back and forth, means आपको दोनों तरफ से trust relationship मिलेगा, and you can access the resources for the both side. Or you can create the one-way trust. One-way trust means, like, if you have a mylab.com, so mylab.com domain user can only access the resources which is available on testlab.com, but testlab.com do not access any resources on mylab.com. So you have to create with the help of incoming trust, outgoing trust. So there are a lot of things in the trust we will talk about in detail. And with the same way, you can also manipulate this relationship with the help of Active Directory Federation services as well, which is completely granular, and we can use this federation services for special or particular applications as well. We will definitely talk about these in the future, but for right now, that is for enough. So let me remind you one more time, or let me give you a review about these all the thing. डोमेन क्या होता है? डोमेन वो होता है जिसके ऊपर आपने एक्टिव डायरेक्टरी इंस्टॉल की है, और जिस पे आपने एक्टिव डायरेक्टरी इंस्टॉल की है उसको आप एक नाम देते हैं, लाइक मैंने यहाँ पर mylab.com नाम दिया है, सो दैट इज कॉल्ड अ डोमेन। और जिसके ऊपर आपने, आई मीन जिस सर्वर पे आपने इंस्टॉल किया है, उस सर्वर को हम डोमेन कंट्रोलर भी कहते हैं, बिकॉज दैट कंट्रोल ऑलमोस्ट एवरीथिंग। ट्री क्या होता है? ट्री इज नथिंग बट जस्ट लाइक यू एडिंग मोर सर्वर्स टू द सेम डोमेन। आप कनेक्ट कर रहे हैं या आप एक मेंबर सर्वर्स बना रहे हैं। कैसे बनाते हैं वो मैं शेयर करूंगा बाद में, बट व्हेन यू आर एडिंग दीज थिंग्स, वो ऑटोमेटिकली एक ट्री स्ट्रक्चर्स क्रिएट करता जाता है। दैट इज कॉल्ड द ट्री स्ट्रक्चर। द नेक्स्ट थिंग इज कॉल्ड द फॉरेस्ट। द फॉरेस्ट इज नथिंग बट कि अगर जैसे कि आपने यहाँ पे एक ट्री स्ट्रक्चर बनाया, तो उस पर्टिकुलर डोमेन को, जो mylab.com है, उसमें जितने भी सर्वर्स हैं और जितने भी क्लाइंट्स हैं, उन सबको अगर आप कंबाइन कर देते हैं, सो दैट विल क्रिएट अ फॉरेस्ट। द ट्रस्ट इज नथिंग बट अ काइंड ऑफ रिलेशनशिप इन बिटवीन द डोमेन्स, जो आपको हेल्प करता है एक दूसरे पे ट्रस्ट करने का, ताकि आप अपने यूजर्स के थ्रू आप दूसरे जो फॉरेस्ट है उसमें जो रिसोर्सेज हैं आप उन्हें एक्सेस कर पाए। बहुत सारे टाइप के ट्रस्ट रिलेशनशिप्स होते हैं, लाइक फॉरेस्ट ट्रस्ट होता है, एक्सटर्नल ट्रस्ट होता है, और इसके अंदर भी हमारे टू वे ट्रस्ट होते हैं। टू वे भी होता है, वन वे होता है, इनकमिंग आउटगोइंग। तो ये सब चीजें मैं डिस्कस करूंगा बाद में। और फेडरेशन सर्विसेज ऑल्सो एड एन वन एडवांटेज, like if you have certain application, you are running some of the databases, you can use federation services to manipulate, like you can make a granular setting within the same relationships. तो ये मैं बाद में सब डिस्कस करूंगा। now for that one, that is enough for right now. And the last thing you should know about the Active Directory is objects. The Active Directory objects play a very important role, especially when you are trying to manage your network. And you should know so many things about them, and definitely we will discuss in the upcoming videos. But for right now, you just need to know that what is these all things, what is the meaning of that, and later on we will discuss in a practical manner in upcoming videos. The very first thing you should know about here is the user. The user is nothing but it allows you to just manage all the resources, or you can say the local resources or the remote resources. What could be is like it's a file services, is the email services, whatever it is. A user can define these all the stuff, and it allows you to access all the resources from the client side. And if you have multiple users and you want to assign something on that, or you want to allow, or you can deny any kind of permission, the best option that allows you to do it in Active Directory is the group. But the only thing you have to do in that, jitne bhi users hain, you just need to add that all the user on the specific or to the specific group, so that you can apply or you can manage these all the users a special kind of settings, not everything. I repeat again, you cannot manage each and everything by just adding to the group. The group allows you to manage certain things related to the email distributions and all that. We will talk about this in the detail, or you can say you can apply the security on these all the users. In that case, we have to use the group. The third thing you should know about the computers. Now, what is computers? Computer is some kind of account. Whenever you join a new computer to the Active Directory, or you can say the domain controller, that time it will create a special account that is called the computer account. And I will show you in today's demonstration as well. The next thing you should know about is the Active Directory organizational unit, which is the very important and the handy kind of container that allows you to manage multiple accounts, multiple user accounts, multiple group accounts, or multiple computer accounts very efficiently. What does it mean? Now imagine you have 60,000 to 70,000 users available. Now you want to apply security, or you want to manage for some reasons or whatever. So it is quite difficult to scroll down all the users, have to do everything one by one, or apply securities one by one. So that is why the organization unit does the job for you. इसमें आपको सिर्फ करना क्या है, जितने भी अकाउंट पे आपको परमिशन लगानी है, you just need to add that all, or you can say that drag and drop down to the organization unit, and automatically just apply the security on the organization unit. It will automatically apply it to the whole, or you can say all the available or the added users or other accounts. So that is why the organization unit is used for the special department or the special division where you have to apply the special kind of security. And the last thing you should know here is the Active Directory sites and the sites link. Now, what is the meaning of that? Guys, for that, I just have created a small example here, and you can see I have one site. The site means the site here is called India. And in this particular site, I have some domain controller available. As you can see, this is my number 1 domain controller. This is my number 2. And ये जो पीछे छुपा हुआ है, this is also called number 3. Now in this particular location, I give the IP address, or you can say IP subnet network, that is 10.0.0.0. That means in this particular LAN, it is considered to be a LAN. ये जो आप क्यूब देख रहे हैं कि इस क्यूब में जो भी, not actually cube, it's a circular cube, whatever it is. You can say मेरी इंग्लिश इस चीज़ में थोड़ी ख़राब है. तो exactly इसमें है क्या कि जो mylab.com आप देख रहे हैं कि वहाँ पर मेरे पास multiple servers available हैं. तो exactly ये सारे servers काम कर रहे हैं within the same subnet, and इस particular location को कहा जाएगा यहाँ पर इंडिया. एंड द सेम वे क्या हुआ कि कंपनी ने प्लान किया कि चाइना में भी उनको यही कंपनी के, मतलब यही कंपनी का एक ब्रांच कह लीजिए, ये सर्वर ओपन करना है. नाउ they do not use the china.com or something like that, because they want to use the same domain name, because this company is also the part of the same what you have in India. So that is why they give the same domain name, but they have the different, or you can say the special IP subnet that works here in China. And यहाँ पर ये servers होंगे, like this is my 4 server, this is my 5 server, and this is my 6 server. एंड अगेन यहाँ पर भी मेरे पास लोकल साइट है, जो लोकल साइट इन द सेंस जो लोकल एरिया नेटवर्क है वो काम कर रहा है 100 Mbps पे. एंड द सेम वे यहाँ पर काम कर रहा है 100 Mbps पे एज वेल. लेकिन जैसा कि आप देख रहे हैं कि दीज बोथ servers, or you can say both location server, are not in place within the same location. So definitely they have to use some kind of connection, and that connection we call generally as a WAN connection. The WAN connection is actually provided with the help of routers or some kind of internet service provider. They have some connectivity with the even help of VPN or whatever it is. So guys, साइट क्या हो गया यहाँ पर, जो इंडिया और चाइना जो है यहाँ पर उसे हम कहेंगे साइट्स, क्योंकि एक पर्टिकुलर साइट में ये है, एक पर्टिकुलर साइट में ये है, लाइक दैट. लेकिन अगर आपको एक फॉर द अपडेट और फॉर द रेप्लिकेशन मीन्स व्हाट, अगर मैंने यहाँ पर एक यूजर बनाया यूजर 1, तो डेफिनेटली आई ऑल्सो वांट टू डू लाइक this user will automatically create at this site as well. So what you have to do within the same Active Directory sites and services, you have to create the replication topology, or you can say this is hub topology or whatever it is. So guys, for that reason you have to create a link. तो जहां पर आप ये देख रहे हैं कि यहाँ पर I just create a link, and this link could be 1 Mbps, 256 kbps, whatever it is. All depends on how much money you have, because if you pay more money you get more speed in between the links. But and 1 Mbps is almost enough to just update, or depends on what kind of updates you have. You are doing updates all the 24 hours or after a particular separate time, and whatever जैसे भी आप use कर रहे हैं. I just want a site link in between these two sites, ताकि वो एक दूसरे को update services send करते रहें, and whatever I made changes into one domain, it will be reflected or replicated to the other domain as well. So guys, this is the basic information of Active Directory. Now let's get, like you can say, the jump into the practical part, like how we can install the Active Directory and how we can create a user, and very important thing, how you can join a client to the domain. This all stuff we are going to do it right away. Now we are on Windows Server 2012, and in this particular demonstration I'm going to share with you that how you can install Active Directory within the Windows Server 2012. One important thing I want to tell you right now, that most of you are already aware that how you can install the Active Directory in the Windows Server systems. So one thing I want to tell you guys, the command is DC promo command nowadays do not work in Windows Server 2012, because I know that कुछ लोगों को ऑलरेडी आइडिया है कि कैसे आप एक्टिव डायरेक्टरी को इंस्टॉल करते हैं, स्पेशली जब आप बात करते हैं विंडोज सर्वर 2003 की या 2008 की. बट द वेरी फर्स्ट टाइम इन विंडोज सर्वर 2012 it won't work. And here the message is there. Once you type the command and press enter, the Active Directory domain services installation wizard is relocated in server manager. So it means that whenever you are trying to install Active Directory, you have to click on server manager and you have to play around with the server manager to get the Active Directory installation done. Now how you can do that, the important thing you need to know in server manager is, first you have to install a role that is called Active Directory domain services role. So click on add roles and features, and here you need to click on next, because here in the before you begin have the little bit information about this wizard, that what is this wizard is all about and what you have to do before to carry on with this wizard. Like they mention about, you have to give the administration account a strong password. You should have a strong password on administrator account. Your IP address should be configured properly, especially statically or manually, and you have to download all the recent update before to begin with this one, because it all compiled with many servers and the roles which required these limited services or requirement. So better you should read this carefully before to carry on with this wizard. Here I just click next to go to the next level, and here is asking like what kind of role you want to install. Active Directory domain services is completely a role based installation. So definitely we don't want to click on remote desktop services installation here, because ये हमारा कोई part नहीं है अभी करने का. So just select the default one and click next. Once you click next, it will analyze your computer, that how many computers you are connected, because I want to just tell you this is the destination server wizard. Right now we only have one domain controller, or you can say it is not domain controller, it is just a server. Right now we have only one server on which I have configured two IP addresses, you can see right now, and with the two LAN card. One IP address for the LAN is 10.10.10.1, and for my internet connection is 192.168.80.201. So that means my computer name lab-dc.1 is properly configured. My IP addresses is properly configured. So everything is good to go. And I'm going to install this domain, this Active Directory on my destination server. Right now my destination server is lab-dc-1. So everything is good to go. Just click next. Now here it allows you to choose that which kind of what kind of role you want to install for right now. So guys, we are looking for Active Directory domain services role which is responsible for to install the Active Directory on this particular machine. So here on the right side in the description, you can read the information about this Active Directory domain services that actually stores the information about objects on the network and makes this information available to all the users and network administration. So that is all about this. If you want to read it, if you want to note it down in your copy, you can do it. But we just want to check mark on this particular role because right now we only want to install this particular role. So click on that. And with this role, it also asks you to install some of the applicable features which is actually required by Active Directory installation. So I want to add, like, it also asks like actually it is only required remote server administration tools. It is the features actually, and in this feature we have ADDS, ADLDS tools, and this PowerShell and command line tools, so many things. So actually we just click on, we just want to install that because without that, without this, your Active Directory could not be installed on this particular machine. So click on add features. Once you add it, just click next to get it done. And just like I told you, the features already selected by default, so we don't need to select here. Everything is good to go. Just click next. And finally, the information about the Active Directory domain services. If you want to read it, if you want to know about more, just note it down. And but right now I'm good to go. Just click next. And यहाँ पर finally वो उसको install कर देगा with these all features and the services. So click on install and it will install Active Directory domain services roles on this particular machine. Now after that, once the installation will be done, it will ask you to promote this particular machine for the domain controller. And once you have to do that step, that will start the process for the actual Active Directory installation. So once I will finish with this, I will come back and I will share with you rest of the process available. So guys, as you can see, my installation is finished on this, and just close this particular wizard, but still our Active Directory is not properly installed. So when you like install the role, just click on ADDS in the dashboard side, I mean on this particular side. And once you do, the configuration required for Active Directory domain services at lab DC1, that means it required some extra stuff to be installed Active Directory. So just click on more here. And once you click on more, it will show you that please promote your server to the domain controller. Once you click on that, now it will show us the wizard to install the Active Directory. So guys, this is the way to do it. So in the very first step in the Active Directory installation wizard, it will ask you select the deployment operation. That means what kind of installation you want with the Active Directory. You want to add a domain controller to an existing domain. Guys, this option you have to use, especially when you talk about the tree stuff or the child domain and all that. Oh, sorry. I mean the additional domain controller. We will talk about this in detail. The second option, the add a new domain to an existing forest. This option we have to use especially when we want to create a child domain controller. We will again talk about this later in the future video, but right now this is my very new server, or you can say the PC on which I'm going to start my company. So definitely I need a new domain in a new forest. So definitely here's the name, add a new forest, select this for the first time and give the name what you want to give. For this particular demonstration, I'm going to give the name mylab.com. That will be a root domain name here. Once you give this name, just click on next. In the next, it will ask you to like talk about some of the domain controller options that allows you to communicate with the different domains if you have available within your forest or within your domain. What does that mean? The meaning is the forest functional level and the domain functional level. The meaning is within your domain, if you are running with the Windows Server 2003 or Windows Server 2008, the first thing you have to change your forest functional level according to that. Meaning, if you have some resources available on Windows Server 2003 and you wanna like work with the same domain network with this Windows Server 2012, so it is good to go with the Windows Server 2003 if you have. But remember, some of the features do not work with this. With the same way, if you have Windows Server 2008 in your network, so better you should choose the forest function level with this one. And of course, for the Windows Server 2008 R2, if you have, or you can directly go to Windows Server 2012. That means if you are opening a company, a new company, and you only want to use Windows Server 2012 for that, so better you should go for it. It's all up to you. So in our case, definitely we want to install with Windows Server 2012, and here's the option that it will install the DNS automatically with this, and of course the global catalog. The global catalog takes the responsibility to provide all the informations related to users, groups, and other stuff to all the clients and the domain networks, like systems you can say, or the users you can say, whatever it is. And the last is the read-only domain controller. We will talk about this later, but I want to tell you the read-only domain controller is nothing but just a copy that, like, it will make a copy of the server information, but it do not allow you to make any changes on that. It is a good stuff. It is an advantage over the additional domain controller, but again I will talk about this later in the future video. But just now, select the domain name system server and the global catalog. By default, give the password, and make sure you should give the strong and the big password for this. I would recommend to give at least 8 characters the password, and it should be a complex password. That means it is a combination of alphabets, numerics, and the symbols. It is good for you or for your organization. So just click next here. Everything is fine here. Then once you click here, so definitely he's asking for the DNS, that this is the very new DNS because it is not an authoritative parent zone. So of course we don't have DNS server in our network, so it will be a proper DNS server for us, or the authoritative parent zone for us. So just click next. Everything is okay here. Now he's checking the NetBIOS domain name. That means जो भी मैंने नाम दिया है, like mylab.com, now the NetBIOS protocol, which is owned by Microsoft. So they are checking that within the same name, I mean within the domain network or the forest, क्या ये same name available है या नहीं. अगर नहीं है, so it allows us to install the Active Directory within the same name. So just like here you go, it will show you the MyLab is available, else it will show you MyLab 1, 0, or some other name. Or you can change the name also if you want, but everything is fine here. Just click next. Once you click next, it will take you to the path, database place, like where the database is available, the system volume location, everything is related to Active Directory. So it will show you in the next step. Just wait for a sec. Actually my computer becomes so much slow. Oh wow, finally we come to this part, because just मैंने जब Active Directory role, I mean ADDS role install किया था, it took around 5 minutes. मेरा कंप्यूटर पुराना हो गया यार, it's old one. Okay, so now here it will show you the information of the database location, where the database is going to save, the log file related to Active Directory, where it is again going to save, and the system volume folder. So I don't want to touch any of the default location. It is good for me. So just click next. And finally, here's the review of the options what you choose during the Active Directory installation. Or if you want to use this as a PowerShell script, so you can just click on view the, oh sorry, I'm sorry, here you cannot see, here I can see, yes, the view script option. Once you click on that, it will show you this script. You can use this script for unattended installation. We can use it in later, and of course you can use as a PowerShell script as well. So every setting is proper here. Just click next. Now it will check the prerequisites which is required to install the Active Directory. And guys, some of the prerequisites, it will be showing you some of the warnings because it is related to cryptographic informations, because it will show you now we choose the forest functional level as a Windows Server 2012. So that means some of the some of the servers which are available in your network maybe do not work properly with this. So on other servers also you should have the same forest functional role if you want to work properly. Okay, so there, here we are. So as you can see, in the first option is trying to show that the Windows Server 2012 domain controllers have a default for the security setting named allow cryptography algorithms compatible with Windows NT 4.0, which is the latest one. So, that will actually prevents the weaker cryptography algorithm. So now in Windows Server 2012 is a good one. The next one is the computer has at least one physical network adapter, as we know that we have actually two. The third thing is we are not connected with the parent or the authoritative DNS server. As I told you, अभी तक हमने create ही नहीं किया है, so everything is fine here, so no need to do anything. Rest is checked properly, and all the prerequisites check passed successfully, everything is good. So just click on install to install the Active Directory here. So guys, the Active Directory installation will take a little bit time because my PC has already become so much slow. So let me pause the video here, and once it is finished I will come back and I will show you how you can create a user inside the Windows Server 2012 with Active Directory, and later on I'm going to join a computer within the same domain so you can verify and you can check the computer account where it is available in Active Directory within the Windows Server 2012, and of course how you can log in that particular domain user like which you created in Active Directory on the client side. So everything I'm going to show you here in this video. Just stay with me, and once it is finished I will come back and I will show you the rest of the part. Alright guys, now I come back. My Active Directory take a little bit while to update all the stuff because it take a restart, and after that it will update all the stuff in the server manager. The whole install it will take around 10 minutes because even I have i7 and the 8 GB of RAM, still it took that much time. So be careful once you are trying to do on your laptop or PC. Now once the Active Directory is finished, you can find some of the changes in the dashboard, or server manager. Here you can see the Active Directory domain services. This particular thing is available, including the DNS, because right now we have the authoritative or the parent DNS, which is main thing for the particular domain network. So right now I wanna go for the next step to create the user account. How you can do that? The very first thing, go to the administrative tools and select the Active Directory users and computers, or you can type the command dsa.msc, which is also called the Directory Services Account Microsoft Console. So it's all up to you. I can suggest you another option, just to right click in this particular server and just click on Active Directory users and computers, which is the best option I like here. So once you click on that, it will open the wizard where you can create, or where you can see multiple things related to the objects, especially the user objects, groups, and other stuff. Now guys, I want to tell you first thing, that once you add this thing, the computer account right now nothing is available, but once you go to the domain controller you can find out one computer account, and which is directly which is created because on this particular machine I just installed the Active Directory. So what is the first thing we have to take care of? Guys, the very first thing to take care of, that how to create an OU in this. So it is very easy. Just go to the domain, select, right click on that, go to new, and then select in the further option called organization unit, because it allows you to manage a particular division and particular spatial branches and all that. We will discuss it later, but just to get inside in the Active Directory how you can do that all. So that is the first thing you should know. So you can give any name, like I will give, this is my sales department. I give DEPT dot, and it is really a good option, is added in Windows Server 2012, and of course it was in Windows Server 2008 as well. protect container from accidental deletion, because once you create it, it is almost impossible by the user to delete this. Also, it's good to go with me. Just click OK. It is created. As you can see, a new container is created. Now if you want to create a user inside this OU, just right click on this particular OU, new, and select the user, which is very easy to do that. Just click on user. Here is the username, what you want to create. Like I want to create Scott Skinger. It's a good user. Scott is double T. I should learn this name. Now the short name, the login name, because I want to tell you guys, this is the first name, last name, or the full name, which is just used to recognize this particular username or the user. But if you want to log in on any of the client side, you have to use the name called user logon name. And what name I give here? S Skinger. So do not forget, you cannot log in by using Scott Skinger name. You have to log in by S Skinger name, and it is created in this particular domain, means @mylab.com, and it is used for the domains, or you can say the clients. Those are working with means working on Windows Server 2000, and you have to use mylab /S Skinger to log in. So just click next here, type the username, and the password. What username? I already typed username. So exactly once I type the password, there are 4 options. User must change password at next logon. That means whenever a user log in, it always asks the username to change the password. So being an system administrator, it is not a good option to choose. So I'll remove this. User cannot change a password. It is so to me, because I really don't want that any user change password without my permission. And password never expires. It is a good option because after every certain period of time you can change that time, but by default it is 42 days, and after 42 days your password will be expired. So it is a good option. And if you want to disable this user, you can do that by just to click here, account is disabled, but I don't want to do this. Just click next and finish. So it is pretty easy to create this particular user. And if you want to create a group, again it is very easy. Just click on new and select the group here. So what the group you want to give, I give a North Sales Group. Any name you want to give, you can give. Now you can find out multiple scopes in a group, and multiple, like 2 type of group type. Later I will discuss in the detail, but right now the by default global scope with security type is selected. So I'm going to with the same setting. I'm not going to change, just want to tell you how you can create a group. The group is created, very easy. Now how you can add this particular user to this particular group, again very easy. There are 2 ways. One, just right click on user, select add to a group, or just go to properties and go to member of, add the group name. Like I have a North, type here whatever the name, then check name, it will automatically check for us. That is the use of Active Directory. The database works itself automatically. So just OK, and once it is done, just apply OK. This is another way. Or you can do that, just right click on this, go to properties, go to member, add, and add the username just like I did just now. So it's very easy to do it, nothing special in this. Now guys, we just installed Active Directory, we just created a user and group, and of course OU. Now the next point is how you can create a client and how you can log in this particular user, the Scott Skinger, on that client. So for that we have to go to Windows 8, because in this case I'm using Windows 8, and in this one you can see how we can create a client first, then how we can go further. But yes, sorry, I forget one thing, that once you install the Active Directory, one step you have to perform, very important step it is, because if you want to make a client, this is a very important step you have to think before to go for client configuration. So go to LAN, means the LAN configuration, go to properties and IPv4, and of course make sure in the preferred DNS server, because we have to communicate based on the DNS. So once it is done, so make sure you have the same IP address, because this is my parent authoritative DNS server. So I give the same IP address here. Once it is done, now go to Windows 8. Now we are on Windows 8, and in Windows 8 we have to go to the PC, I mean the IP address setting first. Please open. Yes, thank you so much. I have to speak to, I always communicate with my computer like this all the time because कभी कभी वो मानता नहीं है मेरी बात, so I have to talk with him all the time. So once it is here, so go to LAN again and make sure you should have the same IP subnet on this particular machine as well for the communication, as they both server and the client are available in the same location. If they are connected with the WAN link, so the routing protocol does the job for us, but right now nothing is there. And make sure in the preferred DNS you should give the IP address of the parent authoritative DNS server, which is 10.10.10.1. Once it is done, the next step is go to the settings, the PC info. In the PC info, it will open the system properties, or you can say the My Computer properties. In the My Computer properties, you have to go to the change settings option, because right now you can see it is working as a work group. So we have to change this from work group to the domain. So click on change, go to domain and type the domain name. So I type mylab.com, press OK. Now it will ask a username and the password. By default, I want to tell you, I'm going to use the default administrator and the password. But for most of the real-time scenario, or you can say the production environment, nobody likes to use the default administrator name. They always like to give Tridev, Cheetah, or these kind of names. It's very complicated to imagine, even very hard to imagine. So that's why they use this. So type the username and the password who have authority to join this particular computer as a client to the domain. So once I type the username password, just press OK. It will take a while, and once it is finished, yes, we are successfully connected with the mylab.com domain. Just press OK. And again, it will ask you to confirm, restart. So close here, restart now. And once the PC restart, I will show you how you can log in with that particular user on this particular client. Now guys, we are back and our Windows 8 is all restarted properly. Now let me log in with the particular user. Now how you can log in here? So for that reason, you need to go to Control Delete or whatever it is. So here you have to either go back where you can choose the other user. So once you click on other user, you have to type the domain name, like the domain name is mylab.com / and the login name of the user. In my case, my login name is S.Skinger, and then type the password of that. Once you type, click on this option, it will automatically log in with that user successfully. And during this time, I want to show you something on on that side as well, in my Windows Server 2012, because here you can find one more changes that once you did that, it will automatically add one more. Just let me refresh it. Oh, it's not a domain correct computer. Please refresh. Yes, the computer you can see right now here, you can see the lab client one. It automatically appears once it will become or successfully connected with the client. And not only that, if you want to know the more information that what kind of operating system it is used by that side, you can also verify from here what is a member of that particular computer is a member of what particular group. You can delegate something, you can add the locations, you can manage, you can even configure the dial-in services, which is especially used in the VPN connection. In the future, we are going to do that, but this is just an example for you. So guys, let me go back one more time on Windows 8, and yes, he's trying to arrange everything properly. So just want to tell you, now we are successfully inside the particular user, and we are good to go with everything. Now, this is the proper demonstration for this particular Active Directory installation and the client configuration. So guys, that to be all for this video. I hope you like this video. I'll take a little bit fast because The size will become so much big of this particular video because I discussed many things into this. So I'll take a little bit fast. So if you have any question, any query related to this, please send me the email on harshadmin@gmail.com, or you can write down the comment below in YouTube. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.